This is the Sony 24-50 f2.8G. Compact, travel size, constant aperture zoom that gives you professional level image quality. The results? I'd say they're pretty impressive. So all of that was shot entirely on the 24-50 f2.8G. If you're someone who wants to upgrade from the kit lens but not drop the big money of the 24-70 G Master 2, this might be exactly what you're looking for. It's wider, faster, sharper than your kit lens, and is aimed to take your photography and videography to the next level. All of that without adding too much bulk to your bag. I mean, look at how tiny this is. In this test, I'll be showing you both the results for videos and also for photos. Later on in this video, I'm going to be comparing it to the Tamron 28-75mm f2.8, which is one of the closest competitors, to let you know which one better suits your needs. Okay, first things first. This thing is tiny for what it is. And that right there is one of the biggest sells of this lens. At only 440 grams, it's closer to a prime lens than to a zoom lens. The build is solid, premium, and has that signature G-series feel. One thing I found that I had to get used to was that it's smaller at 50mm than it is at 24mm, because the barrel extends out for the wider focal length. You get a proper aperture ring with click and declick options, a customizable focus hold button, autofocus manual focus switch, all the controls you'd usually only expect on higher end lenses. So in terms of the handling, this does not feel like a starter lens at all. And because of that size, it gives me a feeling of a prime lens. Like I said, my most used prime lens is the 35mm f1.8. That's what I'm shooting on right now. And this is about the exact same size as that. Now, I'm someone who uses prime lenses over zoom lenses because I like that sharpness, but also I like the lightweight feel when I'm using my camera. But as someone who's always traveling for work and I have to film a lot of things all the way from wide to tight, it's sometimes very difficult to keep switching the lenses. And that's where this guy comes in. Quick question for you though. Are you more of a prime shooter or a zoom lens shooter? Let me know down in the comments. Since getting this lens, I've been on 2 trips. One is for the Samsung Galaxy Unpacked launch, where I actually had to shoot a lot of videos, and I used only this lens to shoot all of those. Because this was absolutely perfect for that, for the wider shots, for the POV, because I had no one to help me film, but also the tighter shots, like I said, to get those focused product isolation shots. And the second one was actually Sony's condo trip, and I brought this with me to Phuket to shoot everything on this. And this was my first time using a zoom lens in a very long time, especially because I'm so spoiled by primes and the image quality on a prime. So how did this do when it comes to that? That leads us to the optical performance. First things first, I shot some Muay Thai using only this lens. Now keep in mind, the zoom range on this is relatively limited. You're going from 24mm to only 50mm as opposed to the 70mm, for example. So shooting something like Muay Thai, I kept my zoom at 50mm almost the entire time because I wanted that closest possible zoom. It was challenging, I'm not gonna lie, but when it comes to the photo performance, I was pretty impressed with the results. And keep in mind, this isn't shot using like a pro photography camera. Instead, I was using the FX3, which is mainly focused for cinema line and video, yet I was able to get pretty decent photo results using just this camera and lens combination. At 24mm wide open, sharpness is pretty impressive, but once you hit 35mm and 50mm, it's tack sharp edge to edge. Flare resistance is surprisingly really good. And that's all throughout the zoom range from 24 to 50. With that being said though, there are a few quirks when you're using this lens. For example, the distortion and the vignetting that you get at 24mm, that's pretty simple to fix in something like Lightroom or Photoshop, but in video, I don't really mind it too much. That and Sony's in-camera correction pretty much takes care of most of it. But what about the zoom range? 24 to 50 is quite limited. I kept wanting to push a little bit further than 50mm, especially for the photos, at least to 70mm, ideally an 85 to 100-ish mm, but it is what it is. You're sacrificing on that range for that sized compactness and just the weight of this. This was more of an issue when I was shooting photos more so than video, because in video I just used the solution of clear image zoom to punch in whenever I needed to, effectively giving me 1.5 times 50mm, so like 75-ish mm, just using this lens as well, so I could punch in if I needed to. One of the coolest things about this lens is the minimum focusing distance. All the way zoomed out at 24mm, you can get as close as 19 centimeters, which gives you pretty good magnification. That means you can get some pretty immersive, almost macro-like shots from a standard zoom lens that you wouldn't really expect for something that's this size and this price. This really adds for some creative flexibility. But when you zoom into 50mm, the focusing distance gets pushed back a little bit. Regardless, the magnification still looks really nice, and the bokeh fall off at 50mm with 2.8 still looks very nice. Now, like I said, I'm mainly a video guy, so I basically use it only on the FX3 and also my ZV-E1, so it was very video focused for me. And I'm happy to say for video shooters, this lens is a win. Autofocus is quick, accurate, and silent thanks to the linear motors. Focus breathing is very well controlled, and because it is so lightweight, it's actually very comfortable to shoot handheld alongside that beautiful stabilization that's built in. So great for handheld work, but also on gimbals because of the lightweight size on this. Not that I would use gimbals, they're just too much of a headache to set up and all. Regardless, if you're shooting on gimbal or handheld, the weight of this, perfect. But how is it in comparison to the other lens everyone asks about, the 28 to 75mm f2.8 from Tamron? First things first, and plain and simple, the Tamron just gives you more reach, up to 75mm, but it also starts a little bit tighter at 28mm. The Tamron is fantastic for portraits, covering the 35mm range, the 50mm range, the 75mm range, all while shooting at 2.8. But there's a trade-off. It's bigger, it's longer, and heavier than the Sony, and doesn't quite give you that same compact feel that the Sony does. That, and also if you're looking for a travel lens, you want something with a wider focal length. So 24mm on this actually is a huge difference compared to the 28mm starting focal length on the Tamron. And in case you didn't know, 4mm actually makes a huge difference when you're shooting wider. With the Sony 24-50, for example, I could definitely vlog with this and hold out the camera, while with the Tamron, it's a little bit too close to my face. Also, POV shots just look significantly better using the 24. The Sony does top out at 50mm, but it's smaller, lighter, and has a physical aperture ring and just feels more premium in general. So the choice comes down to this. Do you want something that's more portrait friendly, that gives you more magnification up to 75mm at f2.8, or do you want something that gives you maximum portability, travel friendly, with a bunch of pro features built in? If you're someone who's moving past your kit lens and you want to buy your first serious lens, giving you some seriously sharp results and some great constant aperture while still being really nice and portable, this is a great option. The constant aperture, zoom, and build quality alone might be the reason to just immediately purchase this without even thinking about it. Then again, if you have a bigger budget, this isn't the one I would be recommending. It would be the 24-70 G Master 2, because that is a mind-blowingly sharp lens. However, the price is mind-blowing as well, and also it's really heavy in comparison to this. This isn't really meant to be your one lens to rule them all kind of thing. But for hybrid creators, travel, and everyday shooting, honestly, specifically for travel, this is a very, very easy lens to recommend. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. Follow me over on Instagram because I'm far more active there, and I'll see you guys again in the next video. Until then, take care.